Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do.
I don't think Mother Teresa was ever up on charges of committing fraud to cover up hush money payments paid to stop the story of you having an affair with a porn star coming out before an election. I don't think anyway. Admittedly, I've never read a comprehensive biography of Mother Teresa. But look, that was not just conspiratorial and ridiculous. Did you notice what else was true of that video? That was low ass energy Donald Trump. That was Mother Teresa couldn't do it. There's border stuff and the elections are being stolen. It's conflicted or whatever. I think he might be getting a little bit depressed, and that's just the saddest thing ever. You hate to see it. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. But you also hate to see more misinformation coming out, because we've been cataloging all of the things that Donald Trump either somehow doesn't understand about court cases, despite having been in so many throughout his life, or is actively misinforming his base about. And we have another one of those here. And it's important that you know what is true, because it bears on sort of the standard that needs to be met by the jury to actually convict Donald Trump of these crimes. Donald Trump and Fox News are trying to convince people that it's easier to do than it actually is. And Trump is misinforming people with messages like this, saying, it is ridiculous, unconstitutional, and un-American that the highly conflicted radical left judge is not requiring a unanimous decision on the fake charges against me brought by Soros-backed DA Alvin Bragg, a third world election interference hoax. And then he goes on to say that it's the most biased and unfair set of jury instructions in judicial history. First of all, is there like a top 10? I don't know if people are really tracking this. I feel like Merchan did a pretty good job, but that's not the part that's important. The part that's important is, wait, you don't need a unanimous decision? That's a big development. I mean, I've been saying this whole time that it has to be unanimous. Have I been lying to you, or is Trump lying? Which do you think it is out of those two? Trump is being, at the very least, highly disingenuous with the way he's describing this. And the particular way he described it makes it more than that. It's a lie. It does have to be unanimous on the fake charges brought against me. Those charges are charges of business fraud. You do require a unanimous jury to say he's guilty of those crimes. The only thing that doesn't have to be unanimous does not have anything explicitly to do with the charges. It has to do with sort of a consequence of the charges. So basically, and you know what, actually I could explain it, but it'd be terrible. It would be as bumbling and fumbling as if you had Alina Habba teaching you the law. So instead, I'm going to go to Bradley Moss, legal analyst, who wrote, people keep harping on this, but are missing the context. They have to be unanimous that Trump falsified the records and did so with the intent to commit another crime. Two parts to it. They do not have to be unanimous on what the other crime was. That's the rule under New York law. And Donald Trump is not only lying about this, but also, let's say that there's an element of truth, that he is actually like surprised to find out that not every part of this has to be unanimous. How could he possibly not know that? Everyone has been talking about the fact that the prosecution does not even need to say exactly what the crime is. They don't have to be explicit. They don't have to prove that crime. That's not some new twist that Soros bought or something. That's New York law, and it has been for a very, very long time. So that is what's going on. The burden for the jury to convict him is still super high, and it still only requires one person. What they want to pretend is that if they have one MAGA person, it won't be enough because it doesn't need to be unanimous. But that's simply not true. One crazy, deranged MAGA cultist would totally be able to derail this thing because it wouldn't matter if they agree on the crime. They could simply absolve him of the fraud. But Yaz, what do you think about this?
Yeah, first of all, Mother Teresa, right? So she wasn't perfect exactly. But even on her worst day, I don't think that she's committed the kind of fraud that Trump allegedly committed or was at least complicit in committing. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, Trump, even as a legal defendant, is still a presidential candidate who is running a campaign. And that is the insane state of our nation right now. And it's kind of funny because they're playing it like it's a numbers game, just like they would a presidential election. If we have one person here, whatever. All of this is great for his political campaign, though. His supporters already think that this is a witch hunt. They already believe that Joe Biden is trying to incriminate and imprison his political opponent because Joe Biden is known for being, this criminal mastermind, very corrupt. We all know that. This is all just going to help his image in the long run, Trump's image with his own base, right? It's only going to solidify him as their MAGA martyr. Trump, in his most downtrodden moment, as we just saw him there, is suffering for all of us, John, for America, for democracy or capitalism or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's also possible. Like I saw, I don't know if it was on CNN or MSNBC, they were doing like a comparison of some stat having to do with what people think of Trump. And they had the number before the trial began, and then they had the newest number now. And it was the exact same number. And yeah. I don't like that that's the case, but I can't say that I'm super surprised by it. Because the thing is, he has been so overwhelmingly awful for years in every way you can imagine. Why would anything new break through? Like, honestly, if this led you to finally be like, no, I can't support Trump, I don't know. I'd want to know why did the COVID stuff not do it? Like, why is this again? So I get that, but still, justice matters. If he committed a crime, he shouldn't suffer the consequences so that maybe his approval ratings will go down. He should suffer the consequences because he committed the crime, which he definitely did. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?